Hello and welcome. In this video lecture, we shall learn how to use the built-in string object. The string class has three different constructors. This concept is named constructor overloading, frequently used in object-oriented programming, OOP. It allows us to pass different number of parameters to initialize objects of the same class. The first and the most intuitive way to initialize a string in Arduino is by passing a number value. By default, this is going to be interpreted as a decimal number base as an argument. The third constructor takes instead the number of decimal points to be displayed. That's why value here is assumed to be a floating number. Let's review a few examples of the constructor before heading to coding. Here we use a constant integer value 134. For demonstration, Arduino API defines constants for different numbering systems, such as bin for binary, hex for hexadecimal, and dec for decimal. On the right side of the arrows, we can see the expected output in different numbering systems. Now let's review the third flavor of the string constructor, which takes the number of decimal places to be displayed. Here we use a floating value 134.666667. On each line, we use a different number of decimal places passed as a plain integer values such as 0, 1, 2, and 3. On the right side of the arrow, we can see how the floating point value is rounded as per the second argument. Now let's head over to the coding in Arduino IDE. So to test the concepts we have demonstrated in the slides, let's open a new empty sketch file and start by typing serial.begin 9600, and then let's test the first variation of the string constructor, string of some value. We can do that serial.println string 134. Let's save the file by typing Ctrl S. Now let's run it. We open the serial monitor and here we are getting 134 as a string. Let's get back to coding and test different variations. The second variation is string, which is given the value and the base for the numbering system. We type down serial.println string 134 and then we say decimal. And let's try again with the hexadecimal and binary. Serial.println string, comma, hexadecimal, and finally serial.println string 134 binary. Let's try and run the code. It says done uploading. Now if we go to the serial monitor, we get the number in the decimal, hexadecimal, and binary. Now let's try the third type of the constructor, which takes the number of decimal places or the one for rounding. We do that by typing string 134 point, let's add as many 6 as we can, then 7, and then we say 0 for the decimal places. Let's try the same. I'll copy and paste it, but with one decimal place, and once again 2 decimal places, and finally with 3 decimal places. Let's upload the file. It says done uploading. Open the serial monitor, and here we've got the rounding to the nearest integer, to the nearest first decimal point, 2 decimal points, and 3 decimal points. Thank you and see you in the next lecture.